Okay, imagine you're watching a corporate training video, but the stakes feel incredibly real. We're on a quiet street in Yangon. It's morning, and what we're about to see isn't just a daily commute. It's a test of a system built on absolute, unforgiving precision. All right, let's get into it.
So this is it. This is the rule that controls everything. It's not a guideline, it's not a suggestion, it is a mandate. 3 minutes. That's all you get. It's the heart of the employee transport policy for this company, Zia and Associates, or ZNA, and it is a hard line against being late. And right on cue, a white minibus pulls up to the stop. The time? Exactly 7:55 a.m. Now inside, the driver glances at his watch. The second that bus comes to a halt, an invisible 3-minute timer. It starts ticking.
So now we're watching the final moments. You can see the second hand on the driver's watch just sweep past 7:57. The engine's just idling. All the other employees are on board, they're waiting. There's no, hey, let me call and see where you are. There's nothing. There is only the clock.
7:58. On the dot. The driver shifts into gear, that automated door hisses shut, and the minibus just pulls out into traffic. And a few seconds later, an employee comes running into the frame, completely out of breath, just in time to watch their ride disappear down the road. The policy was executed flawlessly.
I mean, it seems harsh, doesn't it? Almost brutal. But this isn't really about one driver or one late employee. It's about a much, much bigger struggle. So why would a company enforce something so rigid in a city that is as famously unpredictable as Yangon? Well, that's the big question we're going to unpack. See, that driver's decision, it wasn't personal. He was really just a single cog in this huge, highly documented machine. So to really get the 3-minute rule, we have to first understand the system that made it in the first place. So pretty much everything at ZNA runs on what are called Standard Operating Procedures, or SOPs. And these are not just guidelines. No, they are incredibly detailed step-by-step instructions for basically everything, from how to maintain a vehicle to what to do in an accident. This company is literally built on a foundation of written down rules. And to give you a sense of just how detailed this gets, just look at the process for using a company car. It all starts with filling out a formal requisition form. Then an assistant has to check if a car is even available, approve it based on the policy, and then log the trip in 2 different places, a WhatsApp group and a shared Excel dashboard. It's this whole layered system of checks and balances designed for total accountability. Now, here's what's really cool. This slide brings us right back to the beginning. This is an actual driver log from ZNA's records. And look who it is, Min Nang, the driver from our opening scene. It shows him officially assigned to vehicle 9Q/5726, the minibus, for the main ferry route. His actions were literally dictated by a system that tracks every car and every assignment. So the crucial point here is that this whole internal world of forms and logs, it's a deliberate strategy. It's an attempt to build a fortress of order. It's all about creating predictability and control in a place where, frankly, those things are incredibly hard to come by. And why is that fortress so important? Well, to answer that, we need to zoom out. We have to look past ZNA's internal paperwork and face the chaotic reality of the city right outside their door. The pressure on Yangon's roads is just immense. I mean, think about this. The amount of freight traffic in the city is projected to grow by almost 5 times in less than 20 years. That means more trucks, more containers, and way more gridlock. Every single trip across town becomes a massive logistical fight. And on top of the traffic, you've got this intense economic pressure. So fuel importers in Myanmar have to buy their stock in US dollars. When the local currency, the kyat, gets weaker, the price they pay for fuel just skyrockets. And that cost gets passed straight to the pump, creating these wild, unpredictable price swings for any company trying to run a fleet. This slide really just nails the core conflict, doesn't it? Inside ZNA, you have this world of perfect schedules and 3-minute rules. But outside, their drivers are dealing with insane traffic, waiting up to 6 hours just to refuel at a gas station, and fuel prices that can change overnight. That internal rigidity, it's a direct defense against the chaos outside. But here's the thing. No system is perfect. For all its rules, ZNA's machine has its weak points. So now, we're going to switch hats. We're going to look at this whole system from the inside, not as an employee, but as an auditor, looking for the cracks.
All right, so for this next part, our approach is going to be that of a corporate internal auditor AI. Our only mission is to analyze the data, find the risks, and check for compliance. We are totally objective, we are meticulous, and we just follow the data wherever it takes us.
And the very first thing the data spits out is, whoa, it's a massive safety failure. On one of the company's routes, a vehicle with a listed capacity for 2 people was actually used to carry 11. That is a 550% overload. It's a shocking violation of policy and a huge liability, and it was just sitting there hiding in the company's own records.
And as we dig deeper, we find that the system is just riddled with human error. I mean, look at these inconsistencies in the data. Time is written in different formats. The spelling of places changes from one entry to another. Even the way they write down the number of passengers isn't consistent. Every single one of these little mistakes chips away at the quality of the data that the whole system depends on.
So the audit's main conclusion is crystal clear. The system's biggest weakness is that it depends almost entirely on people typing things in by hand. For all its strict rules, at the end of the day, it's powered by people filling out forms and spreadsheets. And that just opens the door to constant errors and means there's no way to track the fleet in real time.
Okay, so the system is both totally essential and seriously flawed. The question then becomes, what do you do? How does a company like ZNA use this imperfect data to deal with such a tough environment and make these huge decisions about its future?
Well, here's a definite win. By digging into the messy data they had on fuel and travel times, the company was able to completely redesign its ferry routes. This chart shows the bottom line, a new, optimized plan that saves the company over 135,000 kyat every single month. It's proof that even flawed data, if you analyze it right, can lead to much smarter decisions.
But the choices get a lot tougher when you're talking about long-term investments, right? When it's time to get new cars, the data just presents a really complicated choice. Do you buy a new Suzuki and pay this massive premium just to get a warranty? Or do you buy a reliable used Toyota and just gamble on the maintenance costs? Or maybe you just rent, which costs nothing up front but is the most expensive option over time. Every single choice is a major trade-off between risk and money.
You know, even looking toward the future presents a huge dilemma. The government is pushing electric vehicles hard as a way to deal with the fuel problem. But in a country with a national energy crisis and constant power cuts, how do you reliably charge them? There are reports from the Capitol that EV owners often have to charge their cars with gasoline-powered generators, which, completely defeats the purpose. The basic infrastructure just isn't there yet. And this really brings us to the core lesson here. This whole story isn't just about buses and spreadsheets. It's a fascinating look at the fight for control against chaos. The company uses rules and data to build this shield against a volatile world. But we've seen that that shield is not perfect. It's full of human error and can be overwhelmed by outside forces. It really highlights a basic truth for any business in a tough market. You can build the most rigid system in the world, but your survival might just depend on how you adapt when that system starts to crack. Which leaves us with a final question. In an environment this extreme, is even the best data analysis in the world really enough to guarantee you'll survive?